It could be a real challenge to open up and let go while you're dealing with physical pain. Like if you have a headache or there's a part of your body that's just throbbing, it's really painful. How do you let go? How do you release while that's going on? Well, that's what we're going to take a look at today. Coming up. Welcome to The Power of Quiet, showing you a side of yourself that is absolutely unlimited, where you could have, do, and be whatever you choose. And that includes your body. See, most of us, we walk around like the body owns us. And when there's something going on in the body, we're stuck with that and we have to suffer through whatever the body gives us. And rarely do we see a perspective that's totally opposite of that, where we own the body. The body is something that belongs to us. In fact, it is something that is our own creation. And being our creation, we could have that body be exactly as we want it to be. Now that might sound pretty far out, but one of the things that we say in this work again and again is, don't believe what I say. And you don't have to believe me at all. But what we're going to show you is a way to experience it for yourself. And all you have to do is just follow along, try it out for yourself. Hey, what do you have to lose? And see what you experience. See if you discover this for yourself, that you are the owner of the body. And when you identify with something other than your body, where it controls you, and you identify with something that we call beingness, your own beingness, the fact that you are here, right now, you are being. And that's it. If you just identify with that and only that, then you start to discover how you could just change the world around you and change your body in a very effortless way. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you and you're new here, hit subscribe, because like I said, we're not about just talking about this stuff. We actually show you how you can experience it for yourself firsthand. And if you like what you experience here, hit like, let me know on this video. And let's just jump into it. See, I thought I'd cover this topic of how to release while you're in pain because it's something that could be a real challenge. Like, it's kind of like trying to sit down and get quiet. Get into a meditative state, get nice and peaceful. While there's a car alarm going off right next to you, just And that's kind of like what the pain is like. It's just constantly just hammering on you. And how can you release while that's going on? Now, first things first, this isn't about suffering. Now, a couple of videos ago, I talked about being able to heal the body by releasing only. And I pointed out something that Lester Levinson said about healing the body. He said, first of all, if you could heal the body spiritually, you should do that because spiritual healing is instantaneous. And if you can't do it spiritually, do it mentally. Like set a goal and mentally knock out your negative thoughts and feelings, and that'll get you to a place of I can. And then you can heal the body that way. And healing the body mentally, according to Lester, is from very fast to instantaneous. Now, if you can't do that, then just do the next best thing. Go see a doctor, go take a pill, whatever, right? Now, you might be wondering, well, what does he mean by healing the body spiritually? Well, it's kind of like what I pointed out earlier. If you're identifying with your beingness only, then that gives you a very special perspective where you're not identifying with your mind and your thoughts, that little voice in your head, and you're not identifying with this body that you're walking around in. Like Lester called the body, he called it a car case, right? Just like when you get into a car, you don't say, oh, I'm this Chevrolet, I'm this Ford Focus. No, I am me, and I'm driving around this car, right? It's the case around me while I'm inside of it, my car case. And so is this car case. We act like it's all of us most of the time, when really we're just driving this thing that we created. And by identifying with the beingness, see, Lester pointed out how many masters, they don't identify with the body. And there are many masters that walk around with seemingly sick bodies. Like Yogananda had bad feet. He couldn't even walk on them. Ramana Maharshi, I heard in another story how he was lying in a cave for a period of time and bugs were eating at his skin. And something that I witnessed firsthand hanging around another master, Amma, she's also known as the hugging saint from India. I would go to a lot of her retreats, and when she does darshan, and there's lots and lots of people, thousands of people there, and she makes an entrance. She walks through like a pathway that they have set up for her, and then walks up on front and does the whole darshan thing. But before she shows up, they roll out a rug, they sweep it completely clean. And I heard once that the reason why they do that, and they make sure that there's nothing on that when she comes, was because one time she was coming to do darshan, and she was walking up to the front, and she stepped on a nail, a long nail that just went right through her foot. And she didn't even notice it. She didn't identify with it. She just kept doing it, and she sat there and did darshan for like 12 hours, like nothing was going on. See, she was fully functional in what her intention was, and she didn't bother with the body, let that stop her doing what she was doing. But then when she got up to leave afterwards, and they noticed she had a nail in her foot, and they're like, well, we're never going to let that happen again, so they wiped the carpet clean. And that was Lester's point, is that there's a lot of masters that walk around with sick bodies. And they don't suffer from the body. They don't suffer from pain. And the way Lester described it is, you kind of notice that it's there, but it's just something that's off in the distance, and it doesn't do anything to you, and it doesn't hamper you in any way. And Lester told his own story where he was unloading some tree branches off of a truck, and he misjudged a step and took like a big step down, like almost 6 feet, and totally turned his ankle. And he said it immediately swelled up like a balloon. And he had to go to New York the next day. He was like, well, I can't go to New York like this. But then he just said to himself, I'm not the body. And from that perspective, he just told his body to function, to do what he needed to do his business in New York. And he did. And with that swollen ankle, it didn't bother him. He went to New York, did what he needed to do, and it wasn't a big deal for him. So that's where Lester's coming from when he talks about healing the body spiritually. It's getting that place where you're just fully released, you're completely imperturbable, and instead of the body controlling you, you're in control of the body. But back to the point that I was making before. Again, this isn't about suffering, right? Because all of us, we're not exactly masters like Lester and Yogananda and Ramana Maharshi, not yet. And so, as we try to release, if we have a pain in the body, it can make it very difficult to release. And like I said, this isn't an exercise in suffering, right? So if you got something that's really hurting you, if you feel like it, just take a pill. Or maybe go lie down, go to sleep. You can always release the next day, right? So, if all else, just do the next best thing. And give yourself approval for that anyway, all right? However, this is something I want to point out, though, is that if you do take a pill, right, just notice that if your intention is to release, well, if you take a pill, like any medication, whether it's a pain medication or any other medication that handles a symptom, all those medications do is suppress the symptom, right? What does pain medication do? It turns off whatever signals are that responds to the pain, right? It's still there, but it's just like the brain doesn't register it. So you don't feel the pain, but it suppresses it, doesn't make it go away. And it doesn't fix the pain, right? Once that medication wears off, the pain might come back. It usually does. And you have to take it again and again and again and again, right? So all that medication does is it's a suppressant. And being a suppressant, you'll probably notice that when you take like a pain medication or something, that makes it more difficult to release. Right? Just try it sometime. You take a medication, you take an aspirin or something, you might notice you try to open up a door, it's difficult to let that energy go. Because while it's suppressing the pain, it's also suppressing all the other feelings. Right? So the medication itself makes it difficult to release. But if you need to do that, take it, go release another time. But just notice, if your intention is to release, right, now you have an opportunity. Because now you can start to discriminate. Well, if I do take the medication, I'm just going to run away from the pain temporarily. And I'm always going to be running from it. Do I want to keep on doing that? Or am I going to take the opportunity to just face it and rise above it? And just this sort of question, just to look at the straight facts about it, what's going on, and make a decision, you know what, I'm not going to run from this anymore. This lifts you up into a place of courageousness. Or now you can look at that pain and say, I'm going to get bigger than you. I'm going to get imperturbable. I'm going to get nice and peaceful despite what's going on. And just this decision can lift you up and get you to start releasing now, right? So how do you release on the pain, especially if it's like that car siren blaring at you? Well, sometimes going through the 6 steps and all the releasing questions, right? It's like, I can't even think about that right now. I've got this pain. It's staring me in the face. Well, it's right there, right in front of your nose. And sometimes, really, all you can do is just look right at it. I mean, because it's right there. And notice what you're doing about that that's right there in front of you. Are you saying no to it? Like, I hate you, pain. I want you out of here. Now, when you say no to the pain, does that make the pain go away? No, it doesn't. In fact, it probably makes it worse. So you have to make a decision. Well, if say no doesn't work, how about I do something different? And if it's right there, instead of saying no to it, could I say yes to it? And that'll get you going, just doing that. It's so simple. So right now, see if you have some pain. Or just imagine having some pain. You know when you got it. You could bring it up. You can remember what that's like. And you can release on it all the same right now. Now, first of all, see if you've been saying no to that pain. And what does that do? Nothing. All it does is get you more negative. It pulls you down. And running away from it, right? Like if you want to take a pill, you want to sleep it off or whatever, right? That wanting to escape, it's also saying no to it. And you can never escape it. It's always there for you the next day. So instead of saying no, can you just look at that pain right now and say yes to it? That's all. And just that, Y-E-S. Just look at, say yes to it. And could you say yes to it a little bit more? And could you say yes to it a little bit more? And could you say yes to it a little bit more? And even more. And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And could you say yes to it even more? And notice how that feels. Just notice if you feel a little bit lighter. Now if you do, let's kick it up a notch. Look at the pain again. And now, just as you're looking at it, say, pain, I love you. That's all. I love you. I love you. I really, really love you. I love you. I really love you. I just love you. I love you if you leave, and I love you if you stay. I just love you either way. I love you. And notice how you feel now. See if you feel even lighter. And you see, just doing this, saying yes to it, saying I love you to it, because it's right there, right in front of you. Just look at it, say yes to it. It lifts you up. And notice if you're not as bothered by the pain. Maybe you don't even feel it so much. Notice the difference? So you get immediate feedback when you do this. Right? Now, bring your attention to your stomach or chest. See if there's a tightness or contraction there. And this is another important point. Because, see, from the neck up, we're just in our mind. And the mind is just a recording and playback instrument. And see, when we have pain, that mind is talking to us. It's saying about how unacceptable the situation is. And I can't be happy as long as the pain is here. You're listening to that, the pain, the mind is complaining about it, but you don't get anywhere with it. You just get negative. And that mind just doesn't shut up. You can't erase anything from the neck up. But where you can erase things is from your stomach or chest area. This is your feeling center. Now, I said this is an important point because, see, some of us, we might think, well, if I have like a headache or I have pain right here, how about I just open up a door and let that energy go? And that reminds me when I went to my very first releasing class with my teacher, Larry. And Larry was just showing us the basics of releasing. And he asked if anybody has any questions. I raised my hand. And I said, yeah, sometimes I feel this kind of energy in my head, like a confusion energy or something. And I try to open up a door and move that energy out. And before I can finish what I was saying, he just looked me dead in the eye and said, you're doing it wrong. And that kind of pissed me off. It brought up a lot of resistance. I went, whoa. And I let that, I had to like stop. I can't even comprehend anything else he was saying because I just had this big wall come down like, F you, Larry. And I decided, well, I'm going to have to release that because, wow, where'd that come from? Right? And that was an amazing experience. But Larry had a big point that he made, and he was correct. See, if you have like a headache and you try to like release the energy of that, that's trying to control the pain, right? And what we're talking about is releasing here is you might have like a headache or painful area and there feels like there's energy or whatever there. That's not what you're releasing. What you're releasing is your resistance to it, the feelings that you have about that. And that's where you do it from your stomach or chest. So right now, think about some pain that you have. You might be experiencing it right now. And wherever that is, you might feel it wherever it is in your body, but notice if you have a contraction, a tightness in your stomach or chest, kind of like that resistance, like, ugh, I don't like this, get it away from me. I can't be happy now. And it's just a clenching feeling in your stomach or chest. All right, you feel that? Just focus on that. Now open up a door there, right in front of that tightness or contraction. Right? And let that energy go now. Just imagine that, that tightness or contraction, just energy. Just imagine it going out that imaginary door. However that looks like to you. Whether it's like water pouring out or smoke pouring out, whatever. Right? Just let that energy go out that door. Just imagine it leaving. Now let that energy go some more. And even 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 more. And how does that feel? You feel that energy moving? Just in your stomach or chest? And notice that makes a difference in the other part of your body, wherever the pain is going on. And notice how you feel. If you feel more calm and peaceful, more imperturbable. And talking about imperturbability, see, if that is your real interest and you're interested in being a master, see, a master has no problem with pain, right? Just imagine either of the masters. Would they be complaining about it, or would they be completely peaceful in stillness? Right? Now, stillness comes from imperturbability. It comes from letting go of wanting that pain to go away. Or in other words, being all loving, being unconditionally loving. Coming from a place of, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be loving, no matter what's going on. Now see if you can make that decision. And just notice any part of you, to any degree, that's saying, no, I can't do that. And that part, could you just let go? Let that go. Let go of that no. I can't be happy. Well, who said? Whose decision is it? Is the pain in charge, or are you in charge? Could you decide to be happy anyway? And more. And just let go of any resistance to that comes up. Again, you could just feel that resistance as a contraction in your stomach or chest right now. Open up. Just see it as energy. It's not good, it's not bad, just energy. And let that energy go out that door. Just the resistance. And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And how do you feel now? Do you feel more peaceful, lighter, happier? See, when you let go of your resistance to be happy, it's not about kidding yourself and pretending to be happy, but noticing any part of you that's saying, no, I can't do that, and letting that go, letting go of that resistance. When you let that go, then you don't even need to think about it. You're automatically happy. Just notice that. If you're just coming from a place of, yeah, I can. I am. I'm happy. And this is just a little bit of a taste of how you get bigger than your body. And you start identifying with your beingness instead of that body. And once you do that, and you're coming from a place of imperturbability, from that place you could easily change that body. You could just have it go away. Now, why wouldn't those masters do that? Well, Lester, he didn't have a definite reason for that, what he observed, other than he supposed that those masters are doing that on purpose, having a sick body, to remind them that they're not the body. Rather than having a perfect body and then going, oh, this body's so great, I'm going to hold on to it forever, which a lot of us, we kind of want to just have this body forever. But that's like having a car forever. Eventually, it's like, well, I'm not that car. Why do I want to keep holding on to this thing? Like, there are other cars they have, or not being a car at all. Right? Why do I want to hold on to that? So Lester says, well, the masters are probably doing that because to remind them, hey, I'm not that body. I'm none of that. None of that is real. I am just that I am. That's all. And that's the place where we're all shooting for. That's a place where we're not going to be happy until we get to that place where we're completely imperturbable. Right? We'll never be satisfied until we get there. Now, if you want to get there fast, see, having a body with pain, it's a massive opportunity to move forward and realize your mastership. Most of us were complaining like, oh, I had this problem and I can't release while I have this problem. Well, that's what I made this video for, is to show you that you can actually confront it and use it to move ahead. Like Lester said, use every down as an up, because every down, every obstacle, like pain, is a massive opportunity to let go and realize who you really are, if you use it. Now, if you really want to use it and have lots of support so you use it very effectively, then I invite you to join me for a new 6-week course that's starting next week called Mastering Your Body. It's all about going through all those levels of mastership over your body, right? To heal your body mentally by using goals and using very specific releasing exercises that show you how you can improve things that are going on in your body, improve illnesses, improve your weight, all sorts of things, just by releasing only. That's doing it mentally. But ultimately, letting go of that ego and no longer identifying with the body so that you are coming from that pure spiritual place. That's what we're shooting for in this upcoming 6-week course. So if you want to master your body, master your ego, and ultimately become a master, then check out the Body Mastery course. I'll put a link to it up here, also in the description below. And look forward to seeing you there. We're going to have a really, really good time. In the meantime, practice what I've shown you here and see if you can get to that place where you have the courage to face the pain and decide, you know what, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be imperturbable, and then watch what happens as a result of that. And until next time, happy releasing.